Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Eady, your moderator for today's session. You're going to notice some options to interact in the right panel of your screen. Please use the Q&A tab to type in any questions you have for Ed, and then use the chat area to interact with other attendees. If there is a live poll, that's going to pop up automatically. So thank you again for joining us today. And with that, Ed, we're ready to roll.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks for that introduction and overview. I mean, come on now. Let that music, bumper music, leave it all behind. Everything simplified. All we need is nothing more. Everything simplified. That is our topic this morning. Hyland Simplified Licensing. What is it, and why should you care? In simple version. So our agenda this morning is this. We're going to talk about deployment options, really brief, but as it relates to OnBase and the simplified licensing model. Then we're going to get deep into simplified licensing. We're going to talk about what it is, talk about packages and add-ons. That'll make sense as we go through it. Do a comparison between this legacy a la carte perpetual licensing model that you're probably familiar with and the new simplified model. Talk about benefits and review some resources. And hopefully, if we have time, run through some questions at the end. So if you're new to OnBase, if you're considering OnBase, or if you inherited OnBase, this deployment consideration overview is for all of you. So OnBase can be deployed in one of three ways, either on-prem or through a third-party web hosting or through Hyland. So in an on-prem scenario, the one that's highlighted now, you manage everything, kind of that traditional model, absolutely perfect in either the legacy or simplified perpetual, but you're managing the application and your upgrades and monitoring and servers and storage and all those kinds of things. Again, works great. Infrastructure as a service, think about a public cloud. So think about AWS. In this case, you're transitioning to someone else to manage your servers and your storage and the networking, but you're still managing the application, your data, upgrade, patches, compliance. OnBase can be deployed either way, either legacy or simplified subscription here as well. And then think about the Hyland Cloud, software as a service. In this case, all of these features and tasks are being transitioned to Hyland. So Hyland manages the application through a partnership with AWS for infrastructure and storage, but Hyland's cloud team is doing all the managed services for data management, application management, upgrades, monitoring, all those type of things. So if you are moving, and this is why this is really important, again, all three of these work for simplified, but if you are on a legacy licensing model today, I'm going to call it modular a la carte, using these all interchangeably, but this perpetual a la carte legacy model, and you're looking to move to simplified in the cloud, you are required to move to simplified. Simplified licensing is Hyland's new licensing model. And again, we'll get into this a little bit more. First question really is, so why did Hyland make this move? Why did they come out with simplified licensing? And they really got feedback from lots of places, including you. I mean, over the years, and this should be familiar, while the platform is awesome, people have shared regularly, it's complicated, right? It's all these modules, 350 plus and growing. And besides it being complicated, I feel like I'm getting nickeled and dime. It's $5,000 for this and 10 grand for this and maybe 50 grand for this. Hyland heard you. In addition, partners like Navient have been telling Hyland not just that it's complicated, but they've had these smaller bundles, and we've kind of petitioned to say you should add stuff into these bundles or come out with new bundles so that licensing is easier for you, our customers, to deal with. And I think the trifecta was the analysts told them as well. So while the analysts like Gartner and Forrester said, hey, Hyland, you have the most feature-rich platform in the industry, the most common thing that we get asked about Hyland is pricing reviews and licensing reviews. So again, Hyland heard the call and they came out with simplified licensing about 2.5 years ago. So rather than this traditional perpetual legacy a la carte purchases, buy modules as you need them, Hyland basically took these modular capabilities and put them in packages. And these packages now serve as these foundational platforms with these universal licenses in one of three compartments, either content management compartment packages, process management, or case management features into these packages. And really that's a change from this, as we've been talking about. This may look familiar to some of you. Hyland came out with posters. They were very proud of this honeycomb licensing imagery. This is not all 350 modules. If that was, there isn't a poster big enough. But the reality is, it shows the interconnectedness. It's one platform with all these capabilities. The problem is, again, it was complicated. And OnBase has grown since that poster came out. They've added things like advanced search and customer communication management and blockchain and RPA. So this modular model wasn't getting any simpler. This is where Simplified came in. So Hyland basically took a look and with some guidance said, we can take the majority, not all, but the majority of these modules and put them in one of three buckets, either in a content management package, which is all of those feature-rich capture, search, storage, retention, reporting, security features, or process management, think workflow, right? Predictable work, tasks, electronic forms, mobile, even advanced integrations, or case management, this discrete data management, think work view, predictable tasks, and checklists. So again, since these three buckets cover the vast majority of the Hyland capabilities, this is the way Simplified was put together. So let's take a closer look. This should look very familiar, this box on the left, this a la carte modular licensing. This is the legacy, and many of you probably still have this. This is that there's 350 platform modules installed behind the scenes in my platform, but I have to license them as I need them. There are these enterprise capabilities that fall into these content process case buckets. But as you probably know, you had to buy client licenses on top of that, right? You had to buy not just one client license, but up to three. You had to buy a client license for OnBase, content management. If your people needed workflow capabilities, now you needed a second, an additive license. So now they have an OnBase license and a workflow OnBase license. And then if they needed WorkView, you're buying a third license for each person. So now they've got an OnBase WorkView, an OnBase workflow, and an OnBase license to do what they need to do in the platform. Again, this is that complicated model. So following those three buckets, this is what Simplified is. Hyland took these capabilities, these packages, and the official names are Essential, Standard, and Premier. You could think of them as content, process, and case. You could think of them as Silver, Gold, and Diamond. Whatever you want to call them, the official names are Essential, Standard, and Premier. And so if we look at Essential, for example, Essential includes in that package all of those typical import, standard, retrieval, capture, multi-platform access, so like Unity Client, Web Client, etc., full text search, integrations for Outlook, Office, image enablement, think App Enabler. So not just single App Enabler. If you're familiar with App Enabler, it's licensed by application. There's an enterprise application enabler. That's what's included here. Retention, EDM services, revision control, data encryption, single sign-on, reporting dashboards, all of these things that are really core essential to managing your content. Now, here's where the difference comes in client licensing. If you have someone that needs workflow capabilities, this is standard now, Gold, process management, you need workflow. Not only are you getting workflow and business activity reporting and electronic forms and signatures and other things like policy and procedures and document knowledge transfer and compliance and the APIs, but this is a cumulative license now, not an additive like the old license. So if you have someone that needs, a user that needs those workflow standard capabilities, when they have a standard license, they get everything that's in standard cumulatively plus the essential. So you only still need one license for that user, a standard license. Similarly, like Premier, think WorkView. You've got that rapid application development toolkit, all those extended application features for WorkView, full text search for WorkView, extended report mining tools for WorkView. If you have someone that needs Premier capabilities, they get everything in Premier cumulatively plus standard and essential capabilities in that one package. So that covers the vast majority, not all, but the vast majority of those 350 licenses. And then there's still some very specific horizontal industry add-ons and packages, which we'll talk about a little bit further in this presentation. Really important to understand here, kind of the contrast between the two. They are two completely different licensing models. So if you have interest, and we'll go through the benefits, but if you have interest in simplified licensing is only available to someone, a customer that all of their licenses are simplified. So there's no mixing and matching. You can't have your old stuff and add just a few simplified. We would help you go through the process of migrating your old licensing to the new simplified package for everything, so you get the benefits of what simplified is. So when you think about licensing, so those packages were the capabilities. When you think about licensing, essentially it's every user falls into one of these 6 boxes. It's really that simple. Either that essential, standard, or premier packages of capabilities. And then similar to today, you have your choice of assigning them either a named license, that full-time user license, or a concurrent, a shared, a pooled license. So essential, standard, premier, named or concurrent, that is going to cover the majority of it. And again, there will be some horizontal industry add-ons that may or may not apply, depending on what you're doing. So there's some government add-ons, insurance add-ons, healthcare add-ons, the RPA, for example, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But 1 to 6 licenses. So let's run through some examples. Think of this as a virtual test. We're not going to do live tests. This is all on our system, but to kind of give you a feel for where these capabilities fall. So let's start with something basic like scanning. Many of you have scanning in your OnBase. We probably only have 1 type, maybe 2 types, but there's lots of different types of scanning capabilities within OnBase. There's batch scanning, production document imaging, disconnected scanning, remote scanning, desktop scanning, front office scanning, think point of sale type scanning, express, web scanning. That is a basic feature functionality. And if you guessed essential, you'd be absolutely correct that scanning is an essential capability. Let's look at full text search, the ability for OnBase to look beyond keywords to find content within your OnBase repository. Again, standard feature of content management. Enterprise application enabler, as I mentioned, not just single application enabler, but enterprise, unlimited number of applications to be able to surface content, kick off workflows, kick off electronic forms while staying in that line of business application. That, Hyland determined, is still a core capability, which is awesome to extend that through an essential license. Workflow, the ability to have life cycles for something to go through approvals and reviews and timers and reminders and escalations. If you've been listening and paying attention, that is absolutely standard. That's where workflow capabilities fall into a standard license. WorkView should also be a gimme easy one for this simple test. WorkView is that case management capabilities, that rapid application development toolkit, features, functionality. That is premier. Next is encryption, the ability to protect your data. You might be familiar with distributed disk services. OnBase also has alpha keyword encryption and disk group protection. Super important. Super important means it's in the core. So you get that automatically. Mailbox importer, the ability to set up a designated email box or boxes where anything that comes into it is going to be automatically, without human intervention, captured and processed into OnBase. That email and attachments or both. And keyword there was processed. Process management is standard. Keeping with the theme of email, integration for Microsoft Office and Outlook, having OnBase be available to your users through an intuitive ribbon bar so they don't have to leave their Outlook or Office interface to surface content, store content, engage in workflows, those type of things. That is an essential capability. Now, if your users are, quick disclaimer, are going to be engaging in workflows, they can have the ribbon bar Outlook integration as an essential license, but if they're going to engage in a workflow lifecycle, they would need a standard license. Document knowledge transfer and compliance, think reading groups if you're not familiar with it. It's being able to compile documents, share them with your users. They guaranteed signing off that they've read them and understand them, and even putting tests on the back end, including web access. So if you have just users that the only thing they're doing is doing these reading groups and nothing else in OnBase, you don't need to buy any simplified client license for them, because there's an enterprise web access for DKT and C. That is a standard license. As an example, all of the OnBase APIs, the Unity API, REST API, archival, reverse, and EIS, Enterprise Integration Server, are also standard capabilities. Context search framework. Think full text search, but the ability to crawl across the data in business objects within a WorkView record. That is obviously WorkView. It's full text search for WorkView. And one more to throw at you, OnBase Mobile, iPhone, iPad, Android, being able to surface content, engage in workflows, fill out electronic forms. That is an essential capability to be able to have the app and surface content. If, again, similar disclaimer to the Outlook, if they're going to be participating in a workflow lifecycle, they would need a standard. You don't need standard to get the app, but they would need standard to engage in workflow capabilities. And then just finally, a couple of these add-on examples. So in the government space, as an example, agenda management is an add-on. And these are typically things, and the reason they're add-ons is not everyone is going to need these. There wasn't a point of putting them in an essential package, standard or premier package. Other things might be purpose-built application. Not everyone needs an SAP integration or Oracle or Guidewire in insurance. Portals, public access, advanced OCR capture, DocuSign Adobe integration, robotic process automation, just a few of those examples. But the vast majority of these 350 are in one of these 3 packages. And I know that's a lot to throw at you, but I guess I want to share, we have product mapping that we can share with you, walk you through if you're really interested in, hey, this specific module, where does that fit in? We have add-on tracking for individuals. There are also add-on packages. As an example, advanced capture package, the second one here, that includes enterprise advanced capture, enterprise automated redaction, ad hoc advanced capture, interactive data capture, ICR support, barcode recognition for advanced capture. Those all come bundled in one advanced capture add-on license. So the next thing I really wanted to go through with you is an actual Navient customer experience example. Names removed of the customer protect the innocent. But this is an actual customer that had a perpetual a la carte on-prem licensing situation and wanted to take advantage of simplified subscription. So we met with them. We reviewed their current licensing. What client licenses do they have in quantities and modules? We mapped them. We have a calculator here just showing a snip. It's much longer than this. Mapping them to the new packages, determining what they needed, both for, in this case, essential and standard. And in the new package, they needed 5 named, 10 concurrent essential. They needed 5 named, 5 concurrent in standard. They were previously paying about $50,000, ballpark numbers, in annual maintenance. This new package, if we kind of related apples to apples, this is not the cost of Simplified, but in equivalent capabilities, had they bought all of the things that they were getting, that they were paying $50,000 in maintenance for, they were getting over $1 million of equivalent capabilities. So there is a wealth of additional capabilities that a customer will get and users will get in this new simplified subscription packaging. So with that, straight into benefits, we covered the Hyland Cloud readiness. If you're thinking of going to the Hyland Cloud at some point, you will be moving to simplified. And even if you want to stay on-prem, you can move and take advantage of all of these features and have greater access to many additional capabilities. For the most part, third bullet point here, no more modules. There are these add-ons, but for the most part, the vast majority of the modules go away. Simplified client management is something that has been really important to a number of our customers. Now you don't have up to 3 clients to manage OnBase Workflow and WorkView. It's a single client, this Essential, Standard, or Premier. The transition from perpetual to simplified is a perfect opportunity to right-size your licensing, obviously with parameters. Hyland has some parameters, but the reality is, Hyland doesn't like people dropping license. They don't actually allow people to drop perpetual licenses because you own them. This is that perfect opportunity to right-size, and it is a subscription license. So once your term is done, an initial term, for example, 3 years, and you've now locked into your subscription term, now you can have more flexibility because there aren't those same restrictions. You can make those licenses changes post-subscription. So the big question, is simplified right for you? I don't know. But if any of these 6 benefits resonates with you, I would highly recommend you take some time to review either the resources or talk with us. Again, we can share this product mapping, add-on mapping. We have overviews. We have this will be a collaborative event. We have this perpetual to simplified equivalent calculator. And again, you have us. So we are more than happy to talk through this with you. This would normally be the time for questions. Looking at the time, I see that we are absolutely running short on time for questions. But if you submit your questions, we will personally get back to you. So I thank you for your time. And Matt, to you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining, and we will see you at the next session. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.